Which one of these two is Alif and which is Hamza? Seems confusing, right? What about this? Can you tell the difference now? What is Alif and what is Hamza in the first place? Are they different? And if so, how much different? How can we differentiate between them? Don't worry, you're not alone. In fact, many native Arabic speakers used to confuse between Alif and Hamza. In this video, I'll explain everything you need to know to understand both of them. What are they? How can we differentiate between them in both pronunciation and in shape? We'll focus on the most confusing cases for each one of them, and of course, we'll have lots of practical exercises that we'll practice together. This video is a complete guide that contains everything you need to know about Alif and Hamza. It's a bit long, but I promise you that by the end of this video, you will become a hero in this topic. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Mustafa Nasser speaking and you are watching Arabic for Nuns. This is a new pronunciation lesson. Don't forget to subscribe my channel, activate the bell and like the video. You will find two links in the video description below for two PDFs you can download for free. The first one contains the slides used in this video and the second contains a summary for all concepts and exercises used. Don't forget to download them. You'll only have to give your email. Before we start, I would like to go over the question I left for you at the end of the previous lesson about shadda. I'll give you the answer now because it connects directly to today's topic. The question was, is it possible for an Arabic word to begin with a double N? In another word, is it possible for the first letter in an Arabic word to have a shadda? The simple answer is no, that's not happening. But why? Because as we studied previously, double N means two identical letters. The first is consonant and the second is a vowel. That would make the first letter in an Arabic word to be a consonant, which is not allowed. Keep this concept in your mind. We'll come back to it shortly in this video. An Arabic word never begins with a consonant. Now, let's begin. Let's begin by defining Alif and Hamza separately. Alif is a letter of the Arabic alphabet. It's always consonant. So it has no sound of its own unless it carries a Hamza. Most commonly, Alif is used as a part of a long vowel to elongate the sound when the letter before it is labeled with fatha. It can also serve as a seat for Hamza, as we'll see shortly. What about shapes of Alif? Alif appears in three different shapes: the regular isolated shape, the connected shape in the middle or at the end of a word, and the special final form known as al-alif al-maqsurah, the shortened alif. It looks like the letter ya without the two dots underneath it, and it only appears at the end of a word. It's pronounced like alif in words like my name, for instance, Mustafa, or in other proper nouns such as Musa and Isa, and also in some feminine nouns like Salma and Sughra. Now let's talk about Hamza. Hamza is not a letter of the Arabic alphabet. It's a phonetic symbol that represents a glottal stop. In terms of shape, this is Hamza, that small rounded shape. Sometimes it appears alone, but most of the time it appears in combination with another letter. It can appear on top of the alif when marked with fatha or dhamma, below alif when marked with kasrah, on waw, on ya, on this shape which we call nabrah, or even floating on the line alone as it is. Here is a visual tip to help you recognize Hamza only by looking. Whenever you see this small rounded shape, which looks like the head of letter Ain, that's Hamza. Think of it this way. Hamza usually needs a seat to rest on. It could be Alif, Waw, Ya, Nabra, or even just the writing line itself. Okay, fine. Now let's demonstrate the difference between Alif and Hamza in pronunciation. I'll start by giving you examples for both of them in the middle and at the end of a word before going back to the beginning of words. Check the first example. Here I have two similar words. In the first word, the second letter is Alif. Notice its pronunciation. Sala. Sala. As we explained earlier, Alif here is a part of a long vowel. It elongates the sound eh, producing a smooth, single-syllable flow. The pronunciation feels light and uninterrupted. Now listen to the second word. Sa'ala. The word has 3 syllables. Sa'ala. Sa'ala. Notice how the Hamza causes a slight interruption, a glottal stop, that breaks the flow of the word. Listen to the difference again. Sala. Sa'ala. Sala. Sa'ala. Here is a beautiful exercise to practice the sound of Hamza. Repeat it with each of the 3 vowels we know, Fatha, Dhamma, and Kasra, like this. O, 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 o. I. O, 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 o. I. O, I. The Hamza in the previous example was labeled with Fatha. Let's try another example in which the middle Hamza is consonant. Check these 2 words. The first one, Fas. Fas. The Alif is elongated and smooth. And the second one, Fas. Fas. Again, you can feel the glottal stop. Fas. 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 Now let's look at examples that end with Alif and Hamza, starting with these 2 similar words. The first one is pronounced as Bada. Bada. Bada, with Alif creating that long vowel sound at the end. And the second is pronounced Bada in 2 syllables. Bada. Bada. Notice the clear stop from the Hamza. Here is an important caution. Be careful not to overpronounce the Hamza by extending it. Some people in a word like this pronounce it as Bada by allowing some air to go out. That's wrong. It is consonant here, so the sound must be held inside without extension, like this. Bada. Only if Hamza is marked with a vowel like Fatha, and this is by the way the default case ending here, since it's a past tense verb. In this case, we shall pronounce it as Bada'a in 3 syllables. Bada'a. Bada'a. Let's hear 3 of them again. Bada. Bada. Bada'a. Bada. Bada. Bada'a. Sometimes both Alif and Hamza appear together at the end of a word, like this. An Alif followed by a Hamza resting on the line. Here we will pronounce the two sounds, the long vowel of the Alif, followed by the glottal stop of the Hamza. Let's have another couple of words. The first one contains only Alif. So we will have the elongation sound as Sama, Sama, Sama. While the second one will be pronounced as Sama, Sama, Sama. We have both sounds for Alif followed by the Hamza. Here, the Hamza is consonant. What if we mark it with, say, tanween dhamma, since the word is indefinite? It will be pronounced like that. Sama'un, Sama'un, Sama'un. Both the vowel and the glottal stop are still there in addition of the noon sound of the tanween. Even when taken a step further, by making the word definite, the tanween becomes a single dhamma, and hence we pronounce it as as-sama'u, as-sama'u, as-sama'u. Check the pronunciation again. Sama, sama, sama'un, as-sama'u, sama, sama, sama'un, as-sama'u. Let's talk about how Hamza appears seated on other letters. Like in these examples, they are pronounced as follows. بدأ, ماء, شاطئ, يجرؤ. When removing the Hamza from these words, the letters used as seats are pronounced normally. بدأ, ماء, شاطئ, يجرؤ. This shows that the base letter, alif, waw, or ya, just become a regular sound again. Now let's go to the beginning of words. And this is where many learners get confused. So leave anything you're doing right now and look at me. Look at me. Look at me! Now you're looking at me. We said earlier that alif is a consonant. And we also said that an Arabic word never begins with a consonant. So, according to this concept, an Arabic word never begins with an alif because it's a consonant, right? Wait, what? But we do see alif at the beginning of many words, right? Like these examples. So, what's happening here? Well, here is a secret. What you see here, it's not an alif. It's actually a Hamza taking the shape of alif. This special kind of Hamza is called Hamzatul-Wasl, or sometimes Aliful-Wasl. So it's called Alif and Hamza at the same time? Yes. It's called Alif because it has the shape of Alif, and it's called Hamza because it has the pronunciation of Hamza. But to avoid confusion, just call it Hamzatul-Wasl, because we said Alif never comes at the beginning. On the other hand, Hamza appears in its standard shape at the beginning of the word, like in these examples. So, there are two types of Hamzas at the beginning of a word. The first one, Hamzatul-Qat. This is the normal Hamza that we know, which has this small rounded shape, remember? And the second type is Hamzatul-Wasl, which looks exactly the same like Alif, a long vertical line with nothing on top or below. But what is the meaning of these two words, al-wasl and al-qat'? What is the difference between Hamzatul-Wasl and Hamzatul-Qat' in the first place? Let's understand the difference with an example. Here are two words, one of them begins with Hamzatul-Wasl and the other begins with Hamzatul-Qat. Only by looking, you can easily differentiate between them. The one that looks like Alif is Hamzatul-Wasl and the one that has this rounded shape is Hamzatul-Qat. Let's pronounce. Insan, insan, insan. And ism, ism. Notice again. Insan, ism. Insan, ism. They both have the sound of Hamza pronounced with a kasra vowel. I. So, both of them will be pronounced obviously in the beginning of the speech, when the word that begins with Hamza is the first word. Let's try to make them in the middle of the speech by adding a word before them. I'll make it simple by adding a single letter word, wa, which means and. Let's now pronounce them again. Wa insan, wa insan, wa insan. As you see, the Hamza here is pronounced obviously. However, check the other one. Wasm, wasm. This Hamza was completely dropped and the two words were pronounced as one, as if it's written like this. Going back to the meanings of the two words, al-qat' and al-wasl. The word al-wasl literally means connection, which refers to the case in which this Hamza becomes silent in connected speech. On the other hand, the word al-qat' means separation, which indicates that this Hamza will be pronounced even if the word it begins with is separated from the speech and pronounced alone. Well, I hope by now you got everything. Remain some topics that rely on Alif and Hamza. For example, the rules of drawing Hamza with other letters, the cases in which Hamzatul-Wasl and Hamzatul-Qat' appear, and also to study definiteness since the definite article prefix itself contains Hamzatul-Wasl. Let's do a quick recap. Alif is a consonant letter, while Hamza is a glottal stop. Alif never comes at the beginning, while Hamza comes anywhere in the word. Alif has three possible shapes, while Hamza has only this shape, but it rarely shows alone. It used to show in combination with other letters, including Alif. The only case in which Hamza might be confused with Alif is in case of Hamzatul-Wasl, which is a Hamza taking the shape of Alif in the beginning of the word. We explained the difference between Hamzatul-Wasl and Hamzatul-Qat'. Hamzatul-Wasl is pronounced as Hamza only when it's at the beginning of the speech, while in the middle it becomes silent. However, Hamzatul-Qat' is pronounced as Hamza anywhere in the speech. Here is your homework. Try to read the following words and sentences considering the rules of Hamza and Alif we covered today. Well, that's enough for today. Try to rewatch the video and practice all the exercises before jumping to the homework given. In the next lesson, we shall study the definite article, which is the prefix L. We'll focus on its effect on the word's pronunciation after using it. You can download the PDF summary from the link in the video description as well as the slides used in this video. Just click the link, give your email, and download it for free. Don't forget to subscribe my channel, activate the bell, and like the video. See you in the next lesson.